My name is Damien Cooper, I'm 34 years old, and I hate proxies. But just because I hate them doesn't mean that you won't love them. So in today's video I want to talk about what are proxies and how can you speed up your old computer to even edit 8K RAW files if you wanted to.
1, 2, 3, listen.
I have avoided proxies for the longest time, but now that we got the EOS R5 as well as the R6, and those codecs are just stupid and I can't even play them back on my newest 2020 iMac, we have to talk about proxies because now I can't go around not using them. So what are proxies? Basically, you shoot a video on your cinema camera, your DSLM or any other camera and you can't play them back because your computer isn't strong enough. So now you can generate a much smaller, lesser quality file that you can use to edit and then later relink to your original file to actually export in the highest quality possible. Most cinema cameras actually give you the option to shoot proxies internally alongside your high quality media. So on the one card you can record 8K RAW and on the SD card you can actually record a smaller version of that file that you can then use to edit with. But even if you don't shoot on a higher quality cinema camera and your camera doesn't shoot proxies internally, don't worry. It doesn't matter what kind of editor you use. If you're a Premiere user, DaVinci, or as I am a Final Cut user, you're just a couple of clicks away of creating your own proxies within your editor, so I will show you how. And since I'm a Final Cut user, I will use Final Cut for the demonstration of this tutorial, or basically the tips and tricks what proxy media is. And I will also talk about why I hate using proxy media later in the video, so stay tuned. So after I imported all of our files, I can take our footage and quickly transcode it into proxy media. In the newest version of Final Cut Pro 10, I do have the option to choose between ProRes or H.264, and I can even select what kind of size I want to have. Since I'm a Mac user, I'm choosing ProRes because ProRes is the best flavor to edit on any kind of Mac, and sometimes you can even edit ProRes on a 5-year-old MacBook that isn't even that strong in the first place. So if you're a Mac user, use ProRes, and if you're not, use H.264. So now your computer starts generating proxy files, and depending on your source codec as well as the resolution, the amount of footage that you shot and the strength of your computer, this could take from a couple of minutes all the way up to hours or maybe even an entire day. Yes, an entire day. But once the transcoding process is done, we still have all of our original media, but we also have a smaller, lesser quality version of it, and that one is called proxies. So what we're doing now is we can change between the proxy media as well as the original media. So when editing our entire timeline, we just choose the proxy media. And yes, you can see that the quality is not 100%, but it's even not that bad, and most of the times you can't even tell the difference. But we're using the proxy media to just edit our entire timeline, add effects, add our titles and all other things that we would usually do except for the color grading. So now that we're done editing our timeline with all of our effects and titles and we didn't have any problems of playing back the files or even editing it, we can switch back to our original media and apply our color grade. And I highly recommend you color grade on the original media and not the proxy files, because we do want to have the entire latitude of quality of our original source media. So now that we have applied our color grade, we can export our video just the way we would do with any other video. Just keep in mind, you need to have switched back to your original media first, otherwise you will export a smaller, lesser quality version. In Final Cut, you do get a warning every time that you're still in proxy mode before you're exporting. But we can actually take this to our advantage. So if you want to do export our proxy version, then we get a lesser quality and smaller file size file that we can send to a client to pre-approve and don't have to render out the entire thing in the highest quality if we just want to showcase our cuts and editing. So all this seems like a really great solution, right? So why did I start this video by saying that I hate proxy media? And this has basically 3 reasons. The first one has actually been fixed in the newest Final Cut Pro 10 update. For most of my projects, I use a mixture of different kind of cameras, like the C300, the EOS R series, drones, GoPros, or whatever. So I don't need to create proxy media for all of these cameras because most of them actually play back fine on my computer, but like the EOS R5, they just don't. So I only need to create proxy media for the R5, for example. But now in previous versions of Final Cut, I had to choose between either displaying only my proxy media or my original media. So when you have a timeline that is mixed with a lot of footage, you need to constantly switch between your original media as well as your proxy media, and that gets really boring after a while. But now in the newest update, I actually have the option to choose proxies preferred, and that is amazing because now it chooses the proxies whenever there are ones and it doesn't when you only have original media. So you can have both in one timeline and it's just as simple as that. Just keep in mind you need to switch back to your original media and don't forget it before exporting, because otherwise you get a weird mixture of low and high quality footage. So the next reason I hate proxies obviously hasn't been fixed, and that is just the sheer amount of time it takes to transcode all these files into proxies, as well as the increase in disk space. For example, I shot a talking head on the EOS R5 the other day just to test out the 8K RAW. Maybe I should have shaved before filming myself in 8K. And this was about 24 minutes. And these 24 minutes of talking head actually took 1.5 hours on my newest iMac 2020, which is completely maxed out, just to transcode this one file into proxy media. Of course, this was 8K, I'm usually not shooting in 8K, but even the H.265 files in 25 frames, 50 and 100 frames just take a really long time to transcode, even on my newest, really expensive 2020 iMac. And if you're somebody like a vlogger, YouTuber, or somebody who has really fast turnarounds for your clients, this is just an extra step that you need to add to your workflow, and it just takes a lot of time sitting in front of your computer not being able to do anything. And as I've already mentioned, it also increases the file sizes, because now you're generating extra files on top of the files that you already have. Of course, you can just delete them later, but sometimes you forget this, or maybe you just need the disk space in the first place, and depending on what kind of projects you work on, this can actually fill up your hard drive pretty quickly. And the third reason I hate using proxies, and that is probably the reason I hate it the most for, is the overall workflow. If you're a commercial filmmaker and you only shoot several videos a month or a year for different kind of clients, then this is a workflow that actually works amazingly for you, because you just transcode all your footage into proxies, and once a project is done, you just delete them. Easy, right? So for example, we shot this one fashion video on the EOS R5. I transcoded all the files into proxies, edited the video, and then uploaded it to YouTube. So now I can delete the proxies, right? Wrong, because I also shot an entire behind the scenes video. So now I still need all these files to be able to edit them in the behind the scenes video. And I also need to transcode all the behind the scenes shots into proxies as well, because they were shot on the EOS R6. So now that I finished the behind the scenes and uploaded it to YouTube, I can now finally delete all the proxies, right? Wrong again, because in the future I want to do an entire R5 review and I need all these files once again. So either I'm just deleting all the proxies and have to generate all the proxy media again, which is annoying and takes a really long time, or I just keep them on my hard drive forever and will just increase the size of my hard disk space, which is already really limited, shooting in RAW on a C300 or these huge ass files on the R5 and not the R6. So me personally, I would much rather just use the native files of any kind of camera and invest into a beefier computer in the first place and save time on every kind of video I shoot from here on out. Because in the end, time is money and I don't like sitting in front of a computer that is good for nothing but transcoding files for hours on end. Unfortunately, with the R5 and the R6, not even the strongest computer has any chance of playing these files back, but that is obviously a topic for another time. So let me know in the comments below, are you a proxy workflow guy or do you just use the native files? Or maybe will you even change this after I made this video? Let me know in the comments below. And I hope you did take away anything from this video, and if you did, I hope you subscribe to our channel for more. And if you liked this video, actually like the video, and I will see you on the next one.